Hey, yo, what's up? Yo, it's been a while. I'm not gonna lie to you. So, today you're here to watch Volume 1 of What If Kuina Did Not Die. My Volume 1 is pretty much my first three episodes compiled into one video. Please forgive the AI voice for second and third videos. I couldn't find the scripts to rewrite them, so I could redo them. So, it is what it is. But I am coming out with another part or part four. I'm gonna do it as a volume two. I think I just do it all as a volume two and break it into three parts. So I welcome thee to What If Kuina Did Not Die, Volume One. Thank you. To start the story off, what changes the story? What keeps Kuina alive? So now that we wrapped up the Wano arc and we're leaving the land of samurai, something we learned, something crucial. We learned that swords have a will of their own. Going from this, we know that swords have will of their own. I'm gonna use this to change the story and push Kuina to not go down those stairs. So let's say Zoro and Kuina's Wado Ichimonji, it has a will of its own. Yeah, think about that. The sword that Kuina ends up using to beat Zoro in their last duel gets gifted to Zoro, but let's say it has its own will. Yep. Yeah, it's a good idea. So what we do know, swords have will of their own, and the Wado Ichimonji is one of the 21 great swords. And it's a sword crafted by Kuina's own grandfather. I'm probably gonna butcher his name, Shimosuke Kizoboro. This man also crafted Odin's famous sword, which is also handed down to Zoro, Emma, player of the underworld. And I mean, come on, anybody who watches One Piece, reads One Piece, and is caught up with the Wano art knows Emma does whatever it wants, whenever it wants to do it. It doesn't give a damn. I'm gonna suck up all your hockey. Just gonna do it. You wanna cut a tree branch? I'm gonna cut a mountain in half just because I want to. Alright. So with this in mind, keep this in mind. It's a crucial part of the story. The Wado Ichimonji in this what if has a will of its own. So now, from there we get started with the story. I'm not gonna change up anything from when Zoro joins the dojo and the 2000 fights that he has with Kuina and loses every single fight. All that stays in canon. Zoro still loses the 2000 fights to Kuina, but we're gonna start our story right before they start their 2001 fight. So as Zoro finds Kuina outside the dojo crying alone, he asks her what she's doing. She doesn't really answer him, and then he challenges her to a sword fight with real swords. And here's the trigger moment, the big factor that changes everything. Well, the fact that swords have a will of their own, and the Wado Ichimonji has its own will, and it's about to come into play. So, here we go. As Kuina goes into her house, and she goes to reach for the Wado Ichimonji, she begins to get a strange feeling. Something's coming over her. She thinks, what is this? Feels like someone is scolding me. It's like someone knows what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. This anger, this sadness, the resentment and anxiety I feel. But of all, they know I'm scared. They feel fear in me. It's weird. What is this? But then she stops to think, I don't have time for this. I need to hurry and get to the hill and start my duel with Zoro. She leaves the room with the sword, but as she's leaving the room, there's someone behind her. She doesn't even notice this person. He says, let's see how this plays out. So, as Kuina goes up the hill, she meets Zoro. They begin their duel. It goes down the exact same way it does in the anime. But I'm adding a twist. This twist comes in the fact that Kuina still feels off. That strange feeling she felt earlier, she still feels it. It's still there in the back of her head. And as she's dueling with Zoro, it comes to the forefront of her mind. And by doing that, it causes her to hesitate. And this slight moment of hesitation only takes about a second. Zoro sees it and comes in for a slash. It's an upward cut. He cuts her from the base of her cheek up to her forehead. Kind of looks like a crescent moon scar, actually, the way he cut her. But after he lands the blow, they back away. They get distance. This is when Zoro begins to think to himself, that's weird. Did she hesitate? Why would she hesitate? She never hesitates. What is she going easy on me? Does she think she's that much better than me that she can go easy on me? Is that why she hesitated? She's pissing me off. But on the other side of the battlefield, you see Kuina wipes the blood from her face and looks at it, and she thinks, why did I hesitate? I stopped. For a slight second, my sword got heavy and I couldn't swing. And I hesitated. And this is when Zoro looks at her and starts yelling from across the field. What are you doing? Are you going easy on me? Did you hesitate on purpose? Do you think I'm weaker than you? Well, I am not. My name is Zoro, and I am going to become the world's greatest swordsman. Because you went easy on me, you feel pity? I don't... Hearing those words from Zoro caused Kuina to get angry. And she begins to yell back at him. Go easy? On you? Why would I go easy on a boy? I would never, ever think that you will understand what I feel. You were born lucky. You were lucky enough to be born a man. You'll grow stronger and stronger the older you get. You don't understand, Zoro. Why would I go easy on you when you have everything given to you? You don't understand. I was born a woman. Look at me. My breasts are starting to come in. I was born for limitations. That's why I would never hold back, especially against you. And you think you will become the world's greatest swordsman? No. I will become the world's greatest swordsman. At least I want to. I want to become the world's greatest swordsman. But I know that will never happen. Because I was born a woman. And because of that fact, I am weak. The battlefield grows quiet. The only thing that you can hear is the wind blowing, leaves rustling. And you can see our mystery observer in the trees. He just stands there and looks. He says, wow, this is really turning out differently than I thought. But entertaining nonetheless. Let's see where this goes still. Zoro looks at Kuina for a moment before he begins to tell her that's a lie. You think you're weak? No, you are far from it. Who cares if you were born a woman? You're still strong. You're strong enough to beat me 2,000 times. You're strong enough to beat every man in the dojo and every man in the village. You are strong. Who cares if you're a woman? You are my goal. I want to be as strong as you one day. I will surpass you, and I will become the world's greatest swordsman. But to do that, I must beat you. She looks at him, tears in her eyes. You think I'm your goal? I can be strong? You think I can be... Whoa. I didn't say you could be the world's greatest swordsman. That's my title. You could probably be second best. She laughs. You're funny. Because we both know, if anyone's going to be the world's greatest swordsman, it's going to be me. From there, they smile, pick up their swords, and take their stances. They get ready for one final slash or encounter, however you want to say it. From here, Kuina calms down. And for a moment, she begins to take a stance we're very familiar with. If you watch the anime, I can't really say the Japanese name because my pronunciation is bad. So we're going with the English version, which is the one sword style on Lion Strike. From there, they rush each other. But Kuina moves so fast. She disables Zoro. And from there, she sends him flying into the air to where she lands on the ground on his back. Kuina jumps up and places her sword in the ground right next to his face. A scene very similar to what we see in the anime. From this moment, you see the birth of a new sword style for Kuina. Something she will, well, eventually dabble in, practice, and make better. But this is where Zoro also sees the technique and wants to copy it. But this is where he gets the idea for his one sword style Lion Strike. In the future. Long time down the road. But after this, everything goes down the exact same way it goes down in the manga. They make their vow, they go home, blah, blah, blah. But here is another very crucial moment where everything changes. Because as Kuina's walking back to the dojo, a mystery observer is waiting for her outside of the dojo. This man has a long, thick unibrow with a long nose and lips, black hair fashioned into a top knot. Kuina has never seen this man before, but he feels very familiar to her. She continues walking, just going to ignore the man, but the man says, "Oh, Kuina." She stops, like, how does he know my name? I never met this man before. He says, "That was very sad to watch. And you call yourself a swordsman?" She's shocked and says, "Who are you? What do you think you..." He stops her. Like, first of all, that sword didn't choose you. And that sword was rejecting you. It was rejecting you because of all that self-doubt. The Wado Ichimonji felt it. And it wanted you to pretty much stop. It didn't want you to wield it. That's why you hesitated. And that's why you're going to carry that scar across your face. But all the self-doubt, resentment, and anxiety, it just stays with you. It made you hesitate because the sword does not want you to wield it. That sword is one of 21 great swords. And in the right hands of the right swordsman, it can even become a black blade. Kuina just stands there like, what? Who? Wait, are you saying the sword didn't choose me because I'm a woman? I didn't say that, Kuina. Where in that statement did I say because you're a woman, the sword rejected you? It didn't. I didn't say that. I said it rejected you because of your self-doubt. That's why you were rejected by the Wado Ichimonji, not because you were a woman. She stands there even more confused. Like, I don't understand. What are you telling me? What I'm telling you, little girl, is that swords have a certain will of their own. That sword has its own will. And its will is for you not to wield it but for a certain swordsman to come and wield it and take it to the next level, make it a black blade. She still stands there shocked and confused, like, what is even a black blade? Give me too much information too fast. Don't worry about it. Just know that sword's not for you. What you, my friend, need a sword of your own. What you need is to leave this little island, see the world, open your eyes, find your own resolve. You say you want to be the world's greatest swordsman, you're just repeating something you hear other people say. You should leave this island and find what makes you, you. What do you want to do? What is your dream? What do you truly want in life? Kuina just stunned, shocked. I don't understand, but I think I understand. Are you telling me I should leave? Yes. You should leave and find what you want.
Let's get into it. We pick up in the middle of the ocean on a small fishing boat where we see an older Kuina fishing for food. Ugh, why is it so hard for you fish to take the bait? Ugh! Kuina yells and falls on her back, thinking, where am I even going? I don't have an updated map, just this old one Dad had. Now we flash back to the day she left her village. As she finishes packing her bag, her dad walks into the room. So, today is the day. Huh? 6 years of intense training in the way of the swordsman. And you were going to sneak out of here. Kuina doesn't turn to face her father. We can only see her scar from her last duel with Zoro. I'm sorry, Dad. But the world is huge. And out there somewhere is a sword for me and a path to my dream. And I can't do either here in this small village. I have to do this. I just have to. She finally turns toward her father with tears in her eyes, knowing she might not see him for a very long time. This is when her father reaches out to her for a hug. I love you, Kuina. Go follow your dream, and I'll be here waiting for you to return. While in her father's embrace, she asks him to do a favor for her, which we will find out about later. Back in the present day on the fishing boat, Kuina's pole starts to move. She finally has a bite. She hops up and grabs the pole. Oh, this must be a big one. I can feel it. Come on out. And the moment the fish comes out of the water, she sees it's not just any big fish. It's a sea king. Kuina can only stare at the Sea King as it stares back until it moves forward too. The Sea King roars and rushes toward her with intent to kill. That's when Kuina unsheaths her sword and says, one sword style, hook moon slash. The attack hits the Sea King in its mouth, breaking all of its teeth. In shock at what just happened, the Sea King tears up, begins crying, and runs away into the sea. But as the Sea King jumps into the water, the impact causes Kuina's boat to flip over, sending her into the sea. While she's in the sea, falling deeper and deeper into its cold embrace, she starts to think about the day she left the village. On the last day, Kuina didn't make a big deal about leaving. The only person who knew was her father. But she wanted to tell Zoro that she was leaving. Maybe I should tell him, she thought to herself, running her finger down her cheek to feel the scar that Zoro left on her face. No. I can't. Not until I find a sword of my own, she thought again, before stopping in the field where they had their last duel. While standing in the middle of the field, the wind begins to blow, and a familiar face walks up beside Kuina. It turns out it's Zoro, covered head to toe in sweat and out of breath. I've been looking for you everywhere. Where the hell do you think you're going? Zoro yelled at Kuina. Suddenly, Kuina wakes up on a beach with her sword in hand. She sits up and looks around. wondering where she is. She lost all her supplies from the boat. The only thing she has is her sword, which isn't a problem. But she hasn't eaten in 3 days, and she's starting to feel it. Kuina walks along the coastline of the island she washed up on, wondering if there are people around, maybe a town or anything at this point. And then, as she walked, she suddenly stopped in her tracks. What's that sound? It's coming from deeper on the island, but I swear it's getting closer, she thought. Kuina stares deep into the woods as she sees trees moving and the sound getting closer and closer. She puts one hand on her sword and gets ready for whatever is coming out of the woods. Then, out of nowhere, a young man with no shirt on and an orange hat comes running out of the woods with 3 giant monkeys chasing him. "Hey, you, run! These guys are pissed!" the young man yelled to warn Kuina. But all this did was excite her. With her sword now in her hands, she uses 2 hands and prepares to use a new move she's been working on. One sword style, low moon tide slash. In the blink of an eye, the young man dodged the attack that took out 2 of the giant monkeys. The third, in shock and awe, calls for help, and 2 more monkeys show up behind Kuina, both holding trees to use as weapons. But Kuina is too slow to respond to the 2 of them behind her. "Let's see what that devil fruit can do," Kuina heard the young man say as he jumped into the air. Fire fist. A fist of fire came out of the young man's hand, burning and knocking back all 3 of the giant monkeys, sending them further down the beach. In shock, Kuina turns around to look at the young man and asks him, "Why didn't you do that while they were chasing you?" The young man walks past her with his hat in his hand and replies, "If I did that, the woods might burn down, you idiot." Confused, Kuina asks, "Who are you calling an idiot? You don't even know my name." "Ha ha ha ha." The young man starts laughing. "That's right. I'm supposed to introduce myself to girls first, huh? My name is Portgas D. Ace." Moments after Kuina and Ace have defeated the giant monkeys. "What's the D stand for?" Kuina asked with a curious look on her face. "Oh, I have no idea," Ace replied. "I have it. My grandpa has it, and my little brother does too." As Ace started walking down the beach, he waved for Kuina to follow him. "So, I told you my name. Now, what's yours? Or is it idiot?" Jogging to catch up with him, Kuina replied, "My name is Kuina Shimotsuki, and I'm not an idiot. Now, do you know where we are? I don't remember seeing this island on my map." While walking down the beach, Kuina learned that they were on Sixus Island. Most of the island was a desert, and the woods were the only place to find food. It was there that Ace had found and eaten the flame fruit. She also learned there was another person on the island with him. A man who went by the name Masked Deuce, who was also shipwrecked. As they continued to walk, Ace said, "I need to get back to Masked Deuce empty-handed and with an empty stomach again." "How long has it been since you last ate anything?" "It's been 3 days for me," Kuina replied. Ace thought for a moment. "Minus the devil fruit, I'd say it's been 5 days. 5 days without food, and he's still that strong. I can't believe it," Kuina thought to herself. That's when she looked in the distance and saw her little fishing boat washed up on shore. Without hesitation, she ran toward the boat, hoping some of her supplies had made it. When Kuina was a footstep away from the boat, she saw a man with spiky light blue hair rummaging through her bag. "Hey! What are you doing?" she yelled, drawing her sword to his neck. The man with the spiky light blue hair put his hands in the air, dropping the bag. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't kill me. I didn't know anyone else was on this island besides me," and the man looked past Kuina to see Ace standing behind her, laughing. "Wait, Ace, do you know her? Tell her to lower her sword and stop laughing," the man said, trying to sound unafraid, though it was clear he was scared. Ace walked up to Kuina, asking her nicely to put her sword away. "This is Masked Deuce, the greatest tough newcomer of the East Blue." Ace had tears in his eyes from laughing so hard, but his laughter was suddenly cut short by the loud rumble of his stomach. Hearing the sound, Masked Deuce realized something. "Wait, you didn't get any food?" Masked yelled at Ace as his stomach made the same sound. Kuina grabbed her bag and reached inside, pulling out 3 wet rice balls her father had given her before she left, but hadn't eaten. Seeing the rice balls, Ace and Masked moved so fast Kuina thought they had disappeared and reappeared in front of her, wanting a rice ball. "Sure, you guys can have one each, but..." Before she could finish, they had taken the rice balls from her hands and eaten them whole, only to realize they tasted awful. "Yeah, sorry about the taste. My dad is a bad cook. That's why I was saving them as a true last resort," Kuina explained. Shortly after, night had fallen, and the 3 castaways gathered around a fire to talk and pass the time. "So, Kuina, where are you from?" Masked asked, staring at her scar. "It's a small village called Shimotsuki Village, here in the East Blue, just like you. Even though you won't tell us exactly where you're from," Kuina replied, noticing Mask turning his head to avoid eye contact. "Come on, let him be," Ace said, smiling at both of them. "He said he wanted to get away from his family and be free. He's okay in my book. Hey, I have a question, and I know Masked is too scared to ask. How did you get that scar?" Running her finger across it, Kuina had a flashback to her last duel with Zoro before replying. "I got the scar from my rival in our last duel. When we meet again, we'll battle for the title of world's strongest swordsman." Masked Deuce raised his hand. "I hate to point out Before he could finish, Kuina hit him on the head, leaving a lump. "Don't tell me I can't be a swordsman, better yet the world's strongest, because I'm a woman. I'll prove you and the rest of the world wrong," she declared. Hearing those words, Ace looked at her as if he were looking at himself, understanding what it felt like to be doubted. As the son of the king of the pirates, people had told him horrible things, making him hate even being born. But now, he was on a journey to make a name for himself. Ace stood up and told the 2 of them his dream and why he was out at sea. Then, he got an idea. "Hey, why don't you guys join me and become my crew? Together the 3 of us can make names for ourselves and prove the world wrong. I know we just met, but I have a feeling we can really shake things up. So, what do you say?" Stunned, the 2 looked at each other, and then at Ace. "How do we get off this island?" they asked in unison. Pointing at Kuina's boat, Ace said, "We're going to fix it up, with Masked's brains, my fire, and, well, your boat. That's how. So, back to my question. Will you join me?" Kuina laughed. "Sure, I'll join, if we can get off this island. And I call vice captain. This way, my name can grow even faster." Masked sighed. "Why not? I have nothing better to do, and Ace would be dead without me. So, I'll be the vice captain." Only for Kuina to draw her sword again. "You know what? I'm fine with being 3rd in charge." And on that night, the Spade Pirates were formed with Ace as the captain, Kuina as the vice captain, and Masked Deuce being 3rd in charge. The next day they fixed the boat and set off from the island. This, my friends, is the beginning of the Spade Pirates, but this time with a new vice captain, one strong enough to help make the Spade Pirates one of the most feared crews in the world. But we will get there.